Hello and welcome, and you're watching Left, Right and Centre on the first day of this new year with me, Natasha Jog. The big focus this evening, terror attack has killed 5 CRP Jawan, anything but a happy new year for their families. And that coming in the shadow of the meeting by the India and Pakistan National Security Advisors. We ask and talk in terror really walk hand in hand. Also, a strong tweet by the American president talking about what he describes as Pakistan's lies and deceit. Can Donald Trump's words help India over Pakistan? That is the other big story that we are looking at this evening. Let me introduce my panel to you right away. Joining me in the studio, Marshal P.S. Ahluwalia of the Western Air Command. Sushant Sareen, a security expert, is with us, as is Kulbu Sundar of the Congress. We're going to be joined by the BJP ideologue Tuhin Sinha, K.C. Singh, former diplomat, and Salman Bashir, ex-Pakistan Foreign Secretary, has also been the Pakistan High Commissioner to India. Let me start by asking you, Mr. Sareen, first, we've just seen this tweet from Donald Trump come. We've got a response there from Pakistan also. All they're saying is we will respond and you will hear what we have to say and so on and so forth. But are you surprised by the tough talk that Donald Trump is doing, A, and B, do you believe that he will walk the talk? Well, I'm just going to try and go across to Mr. Sareen in just a bit. But if I could just take that to you, Ahluwalia, how do you see this? Are you taken aback by how strongly the U.S. administration is now talking about aid in return for all that Pakistan has promised them over the years?
They've been doing this for quite some time. Obviously because they are affected. Why are they affected? They are affected because Pakistan is supporting the Taliban that is opposing the United States and the other coalition forces in Afghanistan. Now the question is whether this is going to affect Pakistan or not. Firstly, you might find a couple of hours later, there will be another tweet by Donald Trump. So the reliability factor is questionable. And secondly, if you see, I think they have already throttled back as far as the association with the United States is concerned. The defense procurement is at its lowest ebb. They're going to China. As far as finances are concerned, there's very little money flowing from the United States. So therefore, they are not relying on the United States for... So
their attitude then is, what do we have to lose anyway?
Precisely.
Is that correct?
Precisely.
Let's just take that to Salman Bashir. Come in here, sir. You know, what really is the reaction in Pakistan to those strong comments by Donald Trump talking about Pakistan's lies and deceits, and what kind of response can we expect?
Well, I think the foreign minister or the foreign ministry will respond in due course. But let me say that the tweet in the first place, be familiar with tweets coming from that place, that person. I think this tweet signifies a certain bent of mind. Well, basically what he's saying is that we have given so much to Pakistan. I think we are not into full accounting, but if they want, there could be a balance sheet done.
Okay. Let's just now try and see if I can go across to Sushant Sareen in just a bit. Sareen, I was just trying to ask you earlier about this comment from Donald Trump talking about Pakistan's lies and deceits, and trying to understand how should India be taking a look at this? Is there any situation here where India needs to sit back and sort of think that this might give us a heads up?
No, I think the Americans will do what they will do, not for India's cause, but in their own cause. Now, these are the kind of statements we've been hearing, although the last tweet of the president has been pretty strident in its tone and tenor. But this is broadly the kind of stuff we have been hearing from the American side since he announced his South Asia policy in August. And this is a continuation of that. The question now is whether he will actually only talk tough or whether he will act tough. And if this current tweet means that that aid package of about $200 million, which is outstanding, is now going to be curtailed, then that could mean that the Americans are finally turning the screws on Pakistan. It's not just going to be verbal missiles which are going to be fired. but they're going to actually start taking action. Although,
what are the chances of that?
I think,
what are the chances of that? I'm sorry to interrupt, but what do you think are the chances of that happening? Because even though, after a couple of hours, as he said, that there might be another tweet, another comment from Donald Trump, sort of rolling back on this, or sort of stepping back from this position.
No, there could be stepping back from this position, which is why I am saying that until and unless that action is taken, I don't think we can jump to any conclusion. And whether once that action is taken, because that will not be enough. Now, normally what happens is that you take a tough stand and then, because that isn't going to be enough, and I can tell you that that won't be enough, the Pakistanis themselves are saying it, and then the Americans could backtrack. So, rather than backtrack, if they were then going to go up the escalation ladder, even if it's only on economic matters, and going to then bring their votes at the multilateral financial institutions to bear, which means no funding from World Bank, IMF, ADB. If that doesn't work, you go to the next step of stopping, or influencing the international financial markets, because the Pakistanis are going to borrow money from the international financial markets. You impose yourself out there. If that doesn't work, you go to the next step, which is about trade sanctions. By the side, you could also withdraw the non-NATO status, which has been given to the Pakistani. So there is an entire menu of options before the Americans. Now, the question is whether they will go down that road, or whether, under the influence of one lobby or another, which is very shari of America, actually using its immense international clout, unless they backtrack, I think this is the way for the Americans to force a degree of compellence on the Pakistanis.
Okay, Ms. Bashir, before I bring in the whole aspect of the NSAs talking, I want to ask you, is there concern in Pakistan over which way this will go, or not really?
No, I don't think we are too concerned about the situation. I think in the first place, I wish there was less excitement on the part of our Indian friends about the direction that the Americans will take, actually, in terms of specific actions. I think it's perhaps a bit of a wishful thinking on the part of our Indian friends. Okay. I think there is a convergence of interests and objectives as far as the US and Pakistan are concerned. And I think if you try to sort of look beyond the tweets and the strategy papers and the documents and the speeches that we have heard, I think Pakistan would like to see the US succeed in its mission in Afghanistan, that is to bring stability and peace. And I think we have cooperated in the past, and we should be cooperating in the future.
Okay, so you're saying not much concern, and at the end of the day, there are shared interests. Well, more on that, of course, later. But the other big story that we're discussing this evening is that meeting in Thailand between the NSAs of India and Pakistan. I want to get everyone in now, and also with us now, Tuhin Sinha, BJP ideologue. I want to go across to you first. Sinha, there are all those who are saying that that meeting on the 27th of December, coming even as, of course, there was hue and cry over how Kulbhushan Jadhav's family was being treated, had been treated in Pakistan. There are, of course, all those with close leaning to you, to your party, who have also raised similar questions. What would you say, sir?
The question is to me, right?
Yes.
Hello, the question is to me?
Yes, please go ahead.
Yeah. See, as far as the meeting between the two NSAs are concerned, we really are not privy to the details, and I don't think the nation needs to know what's happening. This is a government which, over the last 2 years, has followed a very clear two-pronged strategy. While on the one hand, on the border, we have been very firm in vanquishing the enemy. At the same time, diplomatically, we have ostracized it at different levels, whether it is the UN General Assembly, whether, in fact, even the Doklam, the way we stared down China on Doklam had its impact in demotivating Pakistan to a great extent. So I don't think there should be any questions on the sincerity or the intentions of the government and whether the NSAs met or not. It's really inconsequential, and I don't think the NSAs need to really give out the information of what was the topic of discussion between them. Okay,
fair enough, but more information, of course, coming from sources. I mean, the Dawn newspaper, of course, quoting Pakistan officials. But Khushbu, come in here at this stage. There are all those, who, of course, are raising questions. The point that I said, the raised bit Queen Sinha, but others also saying that you just have to talk. No matter what, the only way to resolve this is that you have to continue talking. Wouldn't you agree?
You need to continue talking. I completely agree with you, Natasha, but then we need to be very clear in what our policy is going to be. You cannot be blowing hot and blowing cold. The kind of NDA government and the Prime Minister Modi we have been seeing in the last 3.5 years, they have been trying to, gather things which they can do it the way they want to do it. You are dealing with a country which has been absolutely a terror-based country, and we have seen the kind of terror attacks we have had in our country. Whether it was the first NSA meeting, it was after that, and when we had a Prime Minister going there uninvited for the weddings and the birthday parties, we were given a written gift of Pathankot. And after that, now when Kulbhushan Jadhav's family was again humiliated in such a manner, despite that there was an NSA meeting, and I'm quite surprised where the BJP says that they're not privy to that and the nation need not know. Of course the nation needs the answers. When is it going to stop? You look at the way, the most alarming thing what you look here is the recruitment of the terrorist rank when you see how it has grown under the NDA government from 2014 to 2017 till last year from January to November in the last 11 months alone. So you need to understand the nation is asking questions, and I'm quite surprised that the BJP says that the nation need not know what is happening.
Right. But like you're saying, the nation does want to know in this case.
So,
Queen Sinha, you wanted to make a point, sir,
over
but
here
you
for a
would
moment?
agree
Yes,
that
nation
it's not just blow
definitely
hot,
needs
blow
to
cold,
know.
but what is our Pakistan policy? There's still no clarity on that, is there?
When you
No, you have a blow hot, blow cold. You're making friends, then you have surgical strikes, then you're talking about talks.
Hello.
Let him, go ahead, Mr. Sinha.
Can you hear me, Natasha?
Yeah, go ahead, sir.
When you accuse us of blowing hot and blowing cold, please understand that we are dealing with a country which is an embarrassment to the civilized world today. I would say Pakistan is like a chronic disease. You cannot have a single line of treatment in dealing with a chronic disease. At times you go for a surgery, at times you go for chemotherapy, and at times you go for radiotherapy. But the fact is that we have
But you agree
handled
that
the
the
situation
NSAs need to
very
then keep
well
talking.
and
We still need to
unequivocally.
talk. This is our
No,
neighborhood. We cannot wish them away.
let
So we
me just
have to
complete.
keep engaging them.
We need to keep the engagement alive, and please understand we have had a consistent policy in the first 1.5 years. We tried to befriend them. That did not work. We gave them a long rope. In the last 2 years, as I have maintained, we have followed a consistent two-pronged strategy. One, we have been extremely firm on the border, and two, we have diplomatically ostracized them. Even today, the decision of Trump to stop aid to Pakistan is a diplomatic victory for India. For the first time, US had acknowledged a few months ago that Pakistan is a state sponsor of terrorism. This hadn't happened before.